Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fire Emblem Path of Radiance Footlock playthrough. In this part we're going to take care of Chapter 20, Defending Talrega, or at least the introductory stuff. Meanwhile, the map screen. Why are you back here? We do not need a recap. Seriously, this is not... Seriously, I understand that they need to tell us that we're moving quickly towards Navasa, but at the same time, we don't need a recap of everything that we're doing, chapter after chapter, especially since it's not narrated. At least in English. I feel that's one of the few things that could have been less in this game was fewer map screens. Meanwhile, the standard update needs to be put off for a little bit. But Ike looked so sleepy as he couldn't sleep last night. I wasn't just Soren being polite. Meanwhile, Mist looks like something's gone horribly wrong. And she doesn't know where the medallion is. Uh-oh. That's not good. It was her only memento of Mother. That something fell. She couldn't find it. Alright. Be safe, Mist. In the meantime, Soren finally reported that there was a worm. And we have Petrine talking to this man, Shiharam. Interesting. Last person who told me that ended up in a corpse file. And she is going to be cruel even to the people of Dayan. Which is... oh lord. Dismisses a bunch of foreigners. But doesn't need squatters. Sorry for the cut. Games themselves, and nothing else. Just leaves whatever else is left. Meanwhile, a bit arrogant on Petrine's part, but she's not wrong. She's to halt Crimea's advance by opening the floodgates. But this is going to be a horrific act in this case. And they're opening the floodgates. All to buy some time, it seems. Last battle's report. Zihark was definitely the guy who carried that one. Also, holy hell, we got 70,000 gold. We are going to be good for quite a while into the game. We could practically forge every chapter, and I think we'd still have money left over. First off, woman. Young man. Business with the general of the army. Meanwhile, we have the vain Calil. But it seems like she wants to fight with us. However, as she says, she's skilled with a knife, not with staves. So, that's a bit of a downside. That means she's all combat. Meanwhile, she wants to be charged based on performance, which is an interesting way to put it. Let's hire. Alright, you're in. Ike is the general, and Calil is quite surprised, it seems. Next up, supports, if any. Ike is good. Zihark can't do anything with Braum, and A rank with Reese. Let's get this out of the way. And Reese for he's being a burden, when in reality he's not. Well... and Rolf wants to make sure that he can be here, protecting Reese, even though Reese is sickly all the time. After all, it makes Rolf less scared, knowing that he has someone to protect that isn't just Mist. Alright. He's right. Nephany doesn't have anybody. Devdan can't support with Tormod quite yet. Alrighty then. That's that. I'll meet you back here after bonus experience. Okay, there we go, Rolf. Very nicely done. Very nicely done, Boyd. That was amazing. Alright, reasonable, Devdan. Alright, I'm done. So... Calil. Before I review her stats, I want to go over this stuff over here first. As stated earlier, she has knife, not staves, which is a bit of a shame. Other than that, her weapon ranks are pretty amazing. They are great. You could basically equip her with whatever type of magic you want, and she'll work just fine. She also has Nihil. This is not very useful, but there's a couple of bosses who have offensive-related skills, and it comes in handy for that. But otherwise, it is not that useful. The other thing I will mention, her stats. They are good, but they are also kind of subpar for what I would expect out of a unit like her. Namely because she's level 6, and I would assume that her speed would be a tiny bit higher. Other than that, she's working pretty well. In the meantime, Convoy the Elf Thunder and the Knife, as I don't need you to have that. Meteor I want for this chapter in particular, but that's about it. Other than that, Elwind, and we're gonna go and basically get all the wind magic I can. I'm gonna take the breeze off of Tormod, and I'm gonna buy an Elwind tome. Whoops, wrong map. Or, wrong map. Wrong shop. Calil. Elwind. I want her to be able to use Tornado as soon as possible. In the meantime, Tormod, where are you? I know he just gave you the Mage Band, but Calil needs it more. As I want to try to make sure that her magic goes up every single level up. In the meantime, Ileana, you should be fine. Nefany, everything's looking fine here. Steel Lance is on you. Hark, I'm actually going to forge you a sword. Increase its attack. Increase its hit a little bit. I think 85 should be fine. And 2 points of crit. No problem. And I'm going to change the name of this. Let's see. I have a name in mind, albeit this one's a bit more serious. Resolute. U-T-E space capital. I can't fit it properly, but it's the Resolute Blade. As Zahark seems very determined. Make it a nice shade of blue to match Zahark's colors. Convoy the coin. And let's see, is there anything else I'm forgetting? I don't think so. Devdan, let's see. I think for this chapter, you'll be fine. This one is extra damage to horseback units, so I'll put it on, even though I don't think it's going to matter that much. Nefany, I think at this point I can convoy the Iron Lance and sell it, and just take out a Steel Lance. Honestly, how I feel about that. Why don't we sell some of the items that I don't need a whole ton of anymore? The forged weapons are going to stay, but the not forged weapons I think I can get away with selling. Okay, let's keep going. Axes. Void, we're good for the rest of the game. I think I can get away with saying that you can equip with whatever axes in the convoy at this point. Want to keep the hammer for a little bit. Who has the other iron bow? It's just sitting free. I'm going to give it to Boyd here in a moment. Steel bow. Get rid of that. Equip you with a brave bow here in a moment. And your thunder tome is perfectly fine. Everything else here is looking good. And the heal staff uses I'm not that worried about. I'm going to probably equip the Bjork Guard. Or sell it. Yeah. I don't think there's a reason to keep this, considering that there's no chance in hell that I'm not going to have Leth unequipped with a Demiband, so I'm going to sell that off. And is there anything else to sell off here? I don't think so. I haven't had to buy Pure Waters quite yet, but I'm doing quite fine. Convoy, give. Well, the coins do nothing in this game. I am going to make sure I transfer them over to Radiant Dawn. In the meantime, Rolf, you also got a coin. Give that back. Trade with Ike. Equip the sword band. Convoy. Excuse me. Take the brave bow. Boyd. Take this iron bow. And take a poleaxe. Specifically, I think it's better to have you take the damage poleaxe at this point. As there's some cavaliers in here, I want you to absolutely make sure that you can kill. Ike, do you have a sword that you can use? I'll give you a longsword for the time being. Zihark, you're also perfectly fine at the moment. I should be burning through what's left of the Armor Slayer in this chapter, based on what I see. Tormod, you're going to be a staff bot for the most part, so I'm not that worried. Do I not have any more heal staffs? Interesting. In that case, Reese, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade this over into Tormod, wherever he is. There we go. Heal. And Reese, you can take the Shine Staff out of the convoy. Probably shouldn't have bought that light tome after all. But hey, hindsight's 2020. Give all of Sheen on. Stefan, you're perfectly fine for the moment. And everybody else is looking good. Boyd, is there anything else I'm forgetting? Don't think I'll have to worry about running out of weapons, personally, but one thing I do want to do. Calil is the person who I've actually been saving this secret book for. So, I'm going to use the secret book on Calil. I want to try to cap as many of her stats as possible. But, with that said, that's everything. Let's save and then let's head off and into the chapter, shall we? In the meantime, Talriga. It's kind of important to one certain person, as hinted at in the last chapter. It's important to Jill, but in this case, Dan's involved, and the medallion is very special. But, Lindsay, I think that she may have touched a sensitive area, but it's just, she doesn't want to talk to her personally. But that's fine. Meanwhile, the road ahead is blocked by water. Uh-oh. The whole region's soaking wet. We can move forward, but the mud's barely passable. It's going to drastically cut their speed. Oh, Lord. Well, if they're able to flood the road, there must be a floodgate, but we're going to go stop the floodgate. In the meantime, Talriga's floodgates. Oh boy. We don't want to let this battle drag out as long as possible, that's for damn sure. So these are the floodgates. Alright, let's get to it. Let's see. Reese, unfortunately, I need you out of here, because I want to make sure Calil is here. Mostly for support reasons. In the meantime, let's get to moving, people, shall we? Kalil's where I want her to be, but I also want Ileana to be up there. Braum in the back right there. Leth, you can swap spots with Tormod. Tormod, swap spots with Devdan. He needs to be as far forward. Wolf can be a little bit further back because he's an archer. And Ike is perfectly fine. Also of note, there's a lot of flying units, and Shiharm has a full guard. Keep this in mind. But yeah, aside from that, not a whole lot to go over. I'll see you guys in the next part where we take on the battle. Thank you for watching, everybody. Please hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons, as well as hit the notification bell to stay up to date. The next part is in the description, or it should be on screen right now. I'll see you for the battle in the next part.